Hi, my name is Cheryl Ash. I'm your host for Have You Read? I have with me James Summers, and James is with, I'm going to massacre it, the West Side Small Business Resource Center, better known as
UC Business Development Center.
Business Development Center.
Right.
And see, I should have practiced that all the time you and I were talking. Okay, James, what is this center?
Okay. The CUC Business Development Center is a business resource, or it's a resource for neighborhood businesses. Mm-hmm. So you have all of these resources, you have the incubators, you have all of these things that are for, high value, high tech businesses and that sort of thing, and that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. We have a center that's focused in primarily on your neighborhood business.
Okay.
Just the regular small business, handyman business, landscaping business, grocery store, neighborhood grocery store, those sorts of things that really are the lifeblood of just the community.
Yeah. And that's really not been around before.
No, it's a different approach. It's a very different approach. Everyone's all excited about, innovation and all the exciting new stuff and all the sexy stuff, all the STEM stuff, all the tech stuff, and that's all great. It is really, it really is. But the key becomes, right in our communities, what are the jobs? What are the businesses that the people right in the neighborhood need? Who's the best handyman? Who can turn around and put a new roof on my house? Who's the one who can do the landscaping, that sort of thing? Who's my plumber? Those sorts of things. Right. So when you think of what is it, that thing, Angie's List sort of a thing?
Yes.
For you to be able to know who are the people right in your community that can provide those services, that is one of the things that we do. But the key thing is to develop those businesses right in the community that care about the community, people who live in the community, who will hire people from the community, and how do we help them develop and grow? That's what the center does.
Well, and one of the things is that if you're a handyman and you're in the community I live, you're going to do a really good job, because you don't want to see me all the time in the grocery store.
That's exactly right.
And avoid me and go down another line because you didn't do, another hour because you do a good job.
But you have people who are truly professional,
right,
who are great at what they do, but
right,
the other part of it is that they have this passion for their community.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we concentrate and focus on.
So why was it launched, the center?
Interestingly enough, the city had a study done back in 2017. And the organization that did the study was a group called Prosperity Now.
Right.
They came back, and it was just an economic evaluation of the community itself.
And we're talking about South Bend.
South Bend, exactly right. And the study came back, and it was titled The Racial Wealth Divide in South Bend. And it basically indicated that if you were a minority, you had a significantly less opportunity to be able to create wealth or have access to capital than your white counterpart. As a matter of fact, in the African American community, it was so bad that it made the city rate as one of the worst in the entire country. The city responded with that information, basically saying, it's like, okay, so we're going to do some things to close this gap. And I was chairing SCORE at the time.
Now, tell us what SCORE is.
SCORE is a national organization that is focused on, it started out as retired executives. So the name SCORE originally stood for Senior Corps of Retired Executives. So senior executives, leaders of major corporations had gotten together, and when they left the corporate world, they wanted to give back, and so they would volunteer and give free advice to individuals. 50 years ago, that's what started. So SCORE now is that kind of organization. In order to be a SCORE mentor, you have to have run a significant organization. You have to have, or been a senior leadership in a major organization. You have to really know what you're doing.
And been successful.
And have been successful, that's exactly right. And there are 320 chapters around the country. And there are about 11,000 mentors around and all of the advice and guidance is free. So what happened was the city, and we are blessed to have one of the best SCORE chapters in the entire country. I mean,
Wow.
this SCORE chapter in Michiana rates among the top 5 in the entire country out of the 320. Wow. So the city of South Bend contacted SCORE, and at that particular time I was chairing the local chapter, and they said that this is the study that we received, this is the problem that we have, we're going to do a lot of things in terms of working on this in the community, but one of the best ways to be able to create wealth is to create businesses. Will you help us focus in on creating businesses in these targeted areas? And of course the answer was yes. So that's how we got involved. The key thing, though, that the biggest problem was in the African American community, because, like I said, the study came back, said it was tough for all minorities, but it was worse for African Americans. So our solution always is like go after the worst situation, create the solution that works with that, take the best practices from that, and apply it to everything else. Okay, so we focused there first. But the average SCORE mentor is a 67-year-old white man.
Right.
Okay, so now SCORE as an organization is working on the diversity, and they're trying to improve that.
They got you.
But that's, yeah, well, yeah, we'll go there. but the challenge is that how do you go about connecting to the segment if you're not involved, that's not
Right.
part of your organization. So what we did was we looked at one of our SCORE clients that had a great reputation and great involvement in the African American community. That was Project Impact. And so we asked Project Impact to help us connect with businesses in the African American community and basically ask the question in terms of the study says that all of these things are against you and all of these problems. But somehow or another, you still manage to have a good business and you're developing and growing. So what's the secret sauce? What is it that you're doing, and how do we create more of that opportunity? So after talking to a number of businesses, what they basically told us is give us better access to resources, better access to information, better access to opportunity, and better access to capital, and give us a place where we can get together as professionals and work on these things and develop our processes. Make that place open during the time that we're available, not when we're working and trying to make money, right?
Right. Not 8 to 5.
Thank you very much. But at a time when we need it to be open,
Right.
and cover topics that we really care about, okay? Not autonomous vehicles, not putting people on Mars. It's
Right.
like, how do you deal with the stuff that's happening right in the community? And so that's what we did. So Project Impact, well, first of all, SCORE could not do that as an organization. We weren't going to launch and create a center because that's not what SCORE does.
Right.
SCORE mentors businesses.
Right.
But we asked Project Impact if they would consider making a business development center one of the programs that they provide.
Right.
So they provide a lot of family services programs. They have Sons and Daughters of Destiny, working with youth and abstinence and self-esteem and those sorts of things. That program is so good that they turn around, and the kids that are going through that now are the children of the kids who had gone through
it
there
earlier.
right? So, and that's the sort of relationship they've got. Men and Women of Scars.
And I know that program really well because
Working
I work
directly with
ex-offenders.
ex-offenders, that's exactly
Yes,
right.
yes.
And then helping them move forward and that sort of a thing. They've got Pastor Blake and Lady Blake are professional counselors, so they can work with family issues and personal issues and those sorts of things. So all of those surrounding sorts of issues. They have programs that deal with health and everything else. Well, the reality of the situation is that when you're launching a business, you've got all of these things that you have to be able to deal with. Being able to surround an individual with all of the other issues actually turns around and helps the business be able to be more successful. So what we decided to do was, one, launch a center that was in the community the way that people said that they wanted it. Two, make it flexible enough that we could adapt and adjust based on what the individual needs truly are. And then 3, provide the surrounding services through Project Impact in order to be able to make sure that everything that needs to be coming together in order to be able to have a successful business are available to you.
Okay. So here's what I hear you're saying is, number one, the people who are connected with the center have had experience with the neighborhood, one way or another.
Experience with the neighborhood, but
Right.
also collaborating with other organizations that
Right.
can provide all of the other things. So
Right.
remember, I said, businesses said that they needed greater access to resources.
Right.
SCORE, SBDC, SBA, other organizations that are doing all of that, we make sure that we create that connection for access to information and access to resources.
Right.
Okay.
But in such a way that you probably, I bet, help guide that client and sometimes there's
Yep.
what I call language. I mean, we're all speaking English,
Yeah.
but you're using terminology I don't understand. It may be some kind of business terminology.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a feeling, because I know you, that you help bridge that gap between
Yeah. Absolutely.
my brother over here
Right.
in the neighborhood and the person who's in SCORE who is a big time executive, and you help bridge that gap and understanding stuff.
The reason I became a SCORE mentor was because people would stop me on the street and they would say, Mr. Summers, I heard in the barbershop that you would help me write a business plan. And my response was, it's like, I'm kind of expensive for what I do. Did you go to SCORE? Did you go to the Small Business
Right.
Development Center? Those sorts of things. And all too often people turned around and they would give the response that they're not going to help me. Now, it wasn't necessarily because those organizations didn't want to help them. It was because there was a communication gap.
Right.
a
And I
problem.
got the same thing at the library. I would send people over to the Small Business Development, and they'd come back and they'd say, I didn't understand them.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And an
mean-
awful lot of times, people would not understand, but they'd be too embarrassed to say that they,
They were
didn't
too, I said, well,
understand.
did you tell them you didn't understand?
Yeah.
And they go, no, Cheryl.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I'm
and,
saying?
and so, but that's human. That's just
Uh-huh.
natural. So what we did was we made sure that that was what we focused in on. We understood that it's like, okay, so there may be this communication gap. We don't know how to fix that, but we know that there's a problem. We got to do that. So when that happens, what do we do in order to be able to create the communication? So in creating the center, that was one of the key things that we did, okay? We went immediately to the group that we wanted to be able to target and work with. We asked them what they needed, and then we provided for them what they need. And then we adapt and we adjust. So we started out, the center was open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, okay? And then we asked the question, it's like, is that the right time? So what we were told was, it's like, no, I needed to be open later, right? Sometimes, okay? So what we did was we adjusted our hours, so we're open from 10 until 5, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Tuesdays and Thursdays were open from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Okay.
So now that's the way we coordinate stuff. And if you want to be able to use the resources of the center on the weekend or something like that, we can schedule that and coordinate that.
Okay.
And then the topics that we deal with are what individual businesses or people say that they need.
Tell me some of the topics y'all deal with.
Well, my favorite one right now is a recent workshop that we did was how to select your business banker. Okay. So John Wingfield over at Centier Bank stepped up to help me coordinate the stuff, okay? And so we had Centier Bank, PNC Bank, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, and TCU Credit Union. All came and worked and brought executives from the bank, and they sat as a panel, for a panel discussion. And then the questions, we asked questions in terms of, just simple things. Okay, so what's really involved in terms of selecting your business banker? What should I have in mind? And that sort of thing. But the key thing was that we had 30 businesses, 30 community businesses that came and participated in this. And it was just wide open for them to ask questions and go on back and forth.
And you
it
know
was
what?
amazing. It was great.
I would have never thought of that. And in trying to do a business, right? I would have never thought about how do you pick I might have thought about how you pick your accountant you know what I mean, or the law, but I would have never thought about.
Well, but that was the point. A lot of times, the people walking into the room, the businesses walking into the room, were of the mindset in terms of it's like, okay, so when I deal with a business banker, I'm going in and I'm begging them for money, and they're in a position to turn around and tell me, no, you're not worthy. Okay. The reality of the situation they walked out is that the bankers themselves were saying that we work for you. And these are the questions that we're asking. We're not grilling you because we want to disqualify you. We're trying to understand to see how we might be able to do some things together.
What your needs are.
The relationship, the whole thing was changed. Now, the nice thing for me, from the center standpoint, is that causes people to step back and say, okay, so this is what I need to be prepared to do. This is what I need to be prepared to think about. These are the things I should have thought about in advance before I go to talk to them to see whether or not this is going to be something that works. So that's one thing. We're going to do that again with all of the different professional services. So how do you select your business, your bookkeeper and accountant? What do I need to do from a legal perspective? How do I select the appropriate, insurance partner? Anything that's related to business resources, we need to have those conversations and discussions and do that on a regular basis. So that's one thing that we're doing. We just completed a 10-week session where, in partnership with NNN, Near Northwest Neighborhood Association, we did a training class for women and minorities who want to be able to get into the construction, home improvement, commercial construction business. They're either in it and they want to get into it, and so we help them in terms of, okay, so these are the things that you need to know. So we walk them through all of the things that are necessary in terms of be appropriately registered with the state of Indiana. We worked with them in terms of all of the things that you need associated with the Small Business Administration. We walk them through the Contractors Association and the things that talk about the different levels of general contracting and or subcontracting and all of those things, so that they knew step by step. And then the next step is to connect them to the upcoming opportunities in the community. And a number of those turned around and participated in a program to become lead abatement certified. Okay. So homes that need to be renovated in the community that need lead abatement or
there
remediation.
Are a lot of old homes.
So now we've got a number of different businesses that have become certified and skilled to be able to connect with opportunities that are going to come down the pike with that.
I'm going to have them, I need you all upstairs to put the address of the center up and the picture so that people kind of know what the building looks like. And when they're looking for it on Lincoln Way, this is a picture of where the center is. And it's on Lincoln Way. It's near the Charles Martin Center. Now I'm going to have them put up the address. And it'll take them a second or so.
Well, we're at 809 Lincoln Way West.
809 Lincoln Way West.
Right across the street from the Charles Martin Center.
Right across the street. There you have the address. Right across from Charles Martin Center. Now, we're going to do this again for those of you who've got to run and get a paper and pencil. I usually tell you to get paper and pencil at the beginning of the show. So now, how does the center differ? I'm hearing a lot of talk now about co-working spaces and incubator spaces. How does the center differ from that?
I get that question all the time. The key is in the name.
Okay.
Common Unity Community Business Development Center. The key is the community. We're focused in on what's happening in the community. We concentrate on the businesses that really care about what's happening with the neighborhood. How do we work together? We look for people to be able to collaborate together in order to be able to create synergy, in order to be able to do things. But at the end of the day, it's how do we help each other? Okay. So it's not a matter of it's like, okay, so I'm this independent entrepreneur and I'm just going to go do my thing. We'll help those too, okay? But our passion is focused around, I want to give back to my community. I want to provide a service to my community. One of the things when I'm working with businesses, I'm constantly asking, okay, so what problem are you solving? And that becomes the issue. I mean, if you can't describe to me the problem that you're going to solve, then do you really have a business? Is what you're doing really needed? Then the other part becomes is like, who's my customer? Are we trying to solve problems in the community and those sorts of things? So there's a lot of situations where people will talk about predatory businesses that are in the community that are bringing in things and the money just goes out of the community and those sorts of things. Well, if you're not happy as the customer, shouldn't we have a competitor business that provides the same service but cares about the community?
Right.
That'll turn around and hire people from the community?
Right.
That'll turn around and make sure that the dollar is going to keep circulating within the community? Are we going to be doing things that are going to be for the betterment of the people in the neighborhood? Because if we're doing that, then we're actually providing services and benefits that people really care about, that really matter, and now we're raising the benefit of the entire community. So that's kind of, that's what we concentrate on.
How's the center funded?
Oh, it's great difficulty.
Always need more money.
Yeah, always. No, we've got, the business model that we set up is designed for the center to become completely self-funding within 2 years. Okay. So membership is free. Standard membership is free. Anyone who, from South Bend, anywhere, is welcome to come in and use the resources. We have a business level membership portion of it. Business level members are standard level members that pay a fee, a small fee, an annual fee. Right now it's $100 a year. Wow. And what we do there is we will work with those businesses, vet them to make sure that they're a legitimate business, that they know what they're doing, that they've got a good business plan and a profit and loss statement, and then we will help promote those businesses to other businesses.
Okay.
Okay? So now they'll generate revenue, so they've paid their basic fee, but also we ask them to donate a portion of the revenue that they get as a direct result of this back into the center. So that's one way.
That makes sense.
Then there's another level in terms of sponsorship. So you have businesses that will turn around and they will sponsor programs with the center. So they just believe that the center is a great program, it fits with their program and the way they want to do something. So for example, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union just purchased the wall that when you first come into the center, that's where their logo is, that's where their information is, okay? Because of that, they've turned around and the donation that they gave will turn around and provide the funding for 100 people during the course of the year to be able to get free services for their business, okay? Now, free initial services and those sorts of things. So that was a significant dollar amount. Now, this just, when I say the free services is, be able to workshops and those sorts of things. So other businesses and organizations, PNC Bank has been a great supporter of us. Centier Bank has been an amazing supporter of us. That's one of the ways through the sponsorships that we get funding in order to be able to make these services available. We concentrate on volunteers, trying to identify volunteers that will sit back and work with individuals. Because what we do is extremely time consuming. And the connection to businesses, partnering with different companies, asking them, understanding what the opportunities are going to be, helping to coach people so that they would be prepared in order to be able to actually deliver the services, and then doing that matchmaking. It's a lot of time, there's a lot of things that are involved associated with it. So the sponsorships turn around and provide that. So we've got a donor level basis. The sponsor level basis is they'll provide funding, and in return, they want their name out there, they want marketing, they want to be able to provide that. Then we've got donor level membership. Donor level sponsors will turn around and they'll make a donation to the center because they believe it's a good initiative. It's a good plan. They want to see these businesses grow and that sort of a thing, but they don't want their names associated with it.
Right.
And so that's one way. So and then now we're starting to develop our marketing strategy, and that'll be coming towards the end of the year. And one thing with that, one of the advantages of partnering with Project Impact was there's a database of over 3,000 people who are associated with Project Impact, who have a great relationship and do things on a continuous basis, and they trust. So from a marketing perspective, we will work with any company that wants to market their product or service directly to that group, and we will send them information about their businesses, their promotions, and those sorts of things, but it'll be coming from a trusted organization, a trusted friend, basically saying that this is something of value
This is
to you.
okay.
That this is something, not just that, but it's coming from a good business that cares about your community and those sorts of things. So now that'll turn around and improve the response rate. So that's a source of funding that we have.
Well, I want the audience to know you saw up address, and it's the West Side Business Resource Center, also known as
The CUC Business Development Center.
Okay, and basically, it's from what I'm understanding is, if you're interested in starting a business, if you already have a business, but you feel you can grow it, they need to see you.
That's exactly right. Well, if you're just even thinking about starting a business.
The next one is, if you want to do a business, you haven't even started it, they can meet with you to figure out what are some of the steps they need to do.
That's exactly right.
And so basically,
any phase of your business, we can provide
from
resources.
getting ready to start it to already started, and
well, let me give you an example.
they just gave me the wrap-up sign, so I want to say it again.
Okay.
It's a West Side Small Business Development Resource Center, and the address is
809 Lincoln Way West, South Bend.
across from
The Charles Martin Center, also across the street from TCU Bank.
Okay, so y'all know the name and all? Get on over there, get your help for starting your business. This is Cheryl for Have You Read?